Hello YouTube. I'm going to start my YouTube debut over again because I did post a video, although I still stand by what I said in the video. I thought it was a bit of a rant and maybe I should start off on a better foot. Use my powers for good and not evil. With that said, today I'm going to do a little something different. I am going to do a cooking video. Now you're probably wondering, where's your stove? It's in my kitchen. I'm going to prepare everything here because you know what? We all know how to put something on the stove and cook and stir and, and whatnot. And when I do, if I do get a better camera where I can bring it into the kitchen, then of course I will be more precise. But I just wanted to talk about today a country where my father comes from, my background, and it's Macedonia. And there's not a lot of YouTube videos about Macedonian cooking. And what there is kind of vague, and it's in a lot of them are in Macedonian. People don't understand it. So I wanted to do a couple of little series, Memories of Macedonia and Memories of Malta, because my mom is from Malta. So I'll hopefully be sharing some recipes from that tiny island in the Mediterranean as well. But getting back to Macedonia, it is a landlocked country in south of Europe. It is now landlocked. The people there obviously speak Macedonian, and the traditions and the country and the history go back 7,000 years. So there's a lot of history in there, and there's a lot of influence from the neighboring countries, the Turk Ottomans, of course, the Ottoman Turks, the Bulgarians, the Slavic people, even the Greeks. So there is influence, and what I want to do is I want to share with you guys recipes that I grew up with and that my grandmother, my baba, taught me, and what my dad used to cook at home. Not all of them may be authentically Macedonian, but it's what I grew up with and what we served in our family, and I really hope you enjoy. So let's get started. So what we're making is called Tavche Gravche, which in Macedonian simply means baked beans in a clay pot. So obviously beans. Now the beans they get in Macedonia are kind of regional to there. They're a little bit, well, actually quite a bit bigger than these. But in a pinch you can use what I'm using, which is dried white kidney bean. They should be a white bean. Don't use black bean. Don't use chickpeas. Don't use, you get my story. Use these. Spices, it's really simple. You're going to need some oil. I'm using extra virgin just because I'm not going to be frying with it or anything like that, so it's not going to burn. If you are going to make the spice mixture in a frying pan with oil, don't use extra virgin because it doesn't have a high smoking point. Use a vegetable oil or canola or a blend. Salt, sea salt. Important, do not add any salt until the end, until it's ready, because beans have a tendency when they're in the dry form, if you salt them, they will go tough. So hold off on the salt. You're going to need a really good smoky paprika. If you can't find Macedonian, there are Macedonian delis in a lot of large cities, but you can always find Hungarian. Just make sure it's smoked. The heat level is up to you if you want it hot or not. I like mine hot, so I have a spicy one. You're also going to need crushed red chili peppers or chili flakes. I just happen to have a pack from Macedonia here. Obviously, I do realize that not everybody has this. So what you can do in a pinch is you can just get a red chili pepper that's dried and crush it up, or use just red hot chili flakes. That's fine. Now, traditionally, what they would do is, and it's more of a long, laborious thing, is they would take these spices and they would put them in a hot pan with oil, mix them, and when the beans are boiling away, they pour the spice mixture into the beans. I'm a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but I cut a corner, and you know what? It tastes really much the same. It really does. So it's up to you if you want to do it the traditional way or the way I'm going to show you today. Also, this is purely optional. Smoked meat. I'm using an extra lean kielbasa. They did have turkey kielbasa at the store today, but I just wanted to go more with the traditional flavor for this video. You can, like I said, omit any meat if you're vegan or vegetarian. This is a great dish for that. You can use any smoked meat. Smoked kielbasa, smoked sausage is popular. Also smoked turkey, and traditionally they would use smoked ribs. Yummo, very good. Again, optional, hot peppers. These happen to be banana peppers, and they have a couple of marks on them, but it's okay. And what we do with them at the very end of cooking, when it's almost complete, we'll just lay them on top of the clay pot, cook them until they get nice and blackened. And again, it's optional. If you don't really like spicy food, don't add them in. It's fine. At the very end, you can garnish this with parsley or fresh mint. It's again your choice. Traditionally, this dish is also served at a funeral or at a religious rite or religious day, served with fish. And that's when they usually add the mint to it. I'm doing it more like village style, what they would probably make up in the villages. This is really a comforting food. It's a real comfort food. And especially in the colder months, this would be great for and it feeds a lot of people too. That's what I wanted to say. It feeds a lot of people because the beans swell. So what you're going to need, obviously, is 450 grams of these beans. That's approximately 2 3/4 cup, and you're gonna need one of these. Now it's not burnt, people. It's just my well-used Dutch oven. It's the ceramic one, I guess you want to call, or porcelain, or I don't know how you call it. Enamel. What you're gonna do is you're gonna add the beans to the pot. You're gonna add some water. You're gonna cover enough water to really soak them. You should wash these too first, by the way, I forgot to mention, and pick out any ones that are floating or dead or look gnarly. These ones look pretty good. I went through the packages when I bought them. You can soak this overnight, and it makes your cooking time quicker. I don't do that because when I want my tavche, I want it now. So it just means your cooking time is going to be longer. You're going to pour the water into here, wash these, dump the water out, and then I'll show you what we do next. I'll be with you in just a sec. Alright, so I'm back. As you can see, I've washed my beans, I've added enough water. Now, as far as measurements of the water goes, all I can say is really submerge those beans good, because you may have to add water during cooking. I've added my paprika, I've added my crushed chili. Like I said, if you want to do this traditionally, by all means, get out a frying pan or a skillet, get some oil in there, put in your red hot chili peppers, put in your paprika, just get them to that like sizzle, okay? And then you pour it in the beans as they're cooking. Personally, I actually prefer this method because I think it makes the beans taste good right from the get-go, and they just have that more European flavor. That being said, it's time for the oil. Now, it's going to look like a lot of oil. It's really not, because you need to have that really good, smooth texture and that really, as my mom would say, European flavor. So just so there's a nice slick coat on the top. I know it looks like a lot, but if you're using olive oil like I am, it's a good oil. And there's a lot of beans here, so it's not like you're going to sit down and eat the whole thing yourself. Shh. I've also gone ahead and I've diced up my kielbasa into pretty good bite-sized pieces. It's entirely up to you if you want to add this in now or add it in as the beans are cooking. I think with kielbasa, I'm going to add it in just as the beans get going, because I don't want the flavor to go totally rendered out of them. If I'm using like a smoked meat like rib or turkey, I definitely put them in now, and it makes the whole dish really have that smoky flavor. There's another thing I forgot to mention, and it's this. vegeta or vegeta or however you want to say it. It is a Balkan spice, but it's found worldwide, and it's basically a vegetable spice. And a lot of Macedonians now will use it in their Tavche Gravche. I'm not going to be mean. By all means, use it if you like. But to me, it's just not traditional, and it doesn't have that authentic flavor. I mean, I can't really say that my baba, my grandmother, had vegeta up in the mountains in the village when she was a little girl. But like with all things, you know, recipes change in time. If you want to add a little bit of that, be very sparingly with it, because it is salty, and I would tend to add it later or with that spice mixture if you're doing it in the pan. And what you're going to do now is you're going to, well, sit this on the stove, get it to a good boil, let it simmer, and keep it going. You can add in your meat if you're using meat, and I'll show you what the texture and the should look like in just a bit by the magic of cameras. Okay, I'm back. So, the Tavche Gravche is on the stove. Keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't boil over, which has happened to me once before. So now it's time to have a little break, talk to your friends, play some music, have a smoke, have a drink. But there's other things I wanted to talk to you about the dish itself. The quantities, the measurements. Again, it's something that, you know, I can say to you, you know, add 2 tablespoons of the paprika mixture, add a tablespoon of this, but it's really up to your own taste. And when you're cooking, I really believe that you should cook how you feel. So, I mean, don't go crazy the first time, because it's easier to add than to take out. But add what you think is a copious or a sufficient amount of spice mixture to the beans. I like to go a little heavy on it. I think beans are plain, let's face it, and this really adds a nice flavor, and I'll show you later what the color looks like. It's just so warm and yummy looking. The other thing I wanted to mention was the hot peppers. A lot of people don't like hot food. You can use sweet hot peppers if you'd like. So there's that option. Also, if you don't want it right on your beans, what you can do with a lot of very, very, very popular in Macedonia, which is pechi peparki, which is basically means like a cooked or grilled pepper. And what they do is they'll stick this in the oven or on a grill, or like my dear old Baba used to do, right on the element on the stove, which I've been known to do, but not since I got my new stove. And then you basically get the skin black, you know the drill, you let them cool and peel off the skin, place them in a shallow dish, and then drizzle it with beautiful olive oil. You could add a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there if you like, but the key to it is tons and tons and tons of really, really fine chopped garlic and loads of chopped parsley. And I'm telling you, you have your tavche or whatever you're eating, and then you have a little bit of the pepper. And again, they could be sweet peppers, blago as we call them. These are luti, which is hot. But I'm telling you, you get that crusty bread and you dip it in the oil with the garlic, and you add some salt. It's to die for. The other thing I wanted to mention is that you're all probably wondering, you said it was baked beans and you put them in a pot. I did, to cook them, but not all the way. We're going to cook them till they're al dente, a little past al dente, I would say. You want them soft, but you don't want them mushy, definitely. And then you're going to put them in one of these. This great clay pot, which this one is actually a paella dish, but I love my dishes that are clay. And a friend of mine, Liz, who does have her own channel, Liz 4 Kids Wears Wigs, if you want to check her out. She does a lot of cooking, and she just did a video with her clay pots, and I thought, well, I always cook with mine, so I'm gonna do that too. So once the beans are at their point, we'll come back and I'll show you how it goes all together. Okay, I'm back to show you pretty much halfway through. As you can see, the liquid has reduced quite a bit, and pardon the steam, but the beans are starting to plump up. They're not completely submerged, and the gravy, if you want to call it that, is thickening naturally with the beans. The kielbasa pieces have plumped up, and it's pretty much there. The beans, probably hot. Yeah, they're hot. They're still a bit al dente, but they can go a little bit more. Most of this liquid has to reduce down until the juice is, well, how shall I say? The beans will be moist. They won't be dry, but they also won't be soupy. You'll see what I mean in a sec. Beans are good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you... Okay, everyone, all jokes aside, my Tavche Gravche is out of the pot into the clay pot, hence the name Tavche Gravche. As you can see, they are moist. There is liquid in here. The beans are exposed. The meat is exposed. And they're ready to go into the oven now, or a convection oven for a little bit. At this point, the beans are soft. They're not crunchy, but they're not mushy. They taste great. And that's what you want, because you don't want like pablum. You don't want baby food. So I've added my hot peppers. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add some more because I like mine spicy. Again, you do not have to do this. You can omit this, or you can put sweet peppers, shepherd peppers, whatever you prefer, whatever pepper you like, really. So this is going to go bake in the oven just for a bit, just so we get a bit of a scorch. I don't want to dry out my beans, I hope. And we'll see you when everything is all done. Wasn't that fun? Alright, everyone, my Tavche Gravche has come out of the oven. As you can see, the peppers have a nice scorch. They're not like burnt. They're, you know, with a little bit of a skin. Obviously underneath they're going to be still soft. The beans have soaked up a lot of the liquid, as you can see, but they're still juicy. And you see that pieces of meat. Oh my God. So let's plate it up. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the end result. As you can see, I have my Tavche Gravche, which I put some parsley and a good dollop of Balkan style yogurt on top, just to cut the spiciness, and it adds to the creaminess. It's really yum. I have my hot pepper. I have a nice piece of crusty bread, so I can dip into this and savor everything. I have some olives, and I have a Macedonian style stuffed pepper with sauerkraut. This is like a pickled pepper. This is going to be so good. I hope you guys try this. I really, really hope you do. It's really wonderful. Enjoy, and I hope to see you guys soon. Best wishes and good appetite from Macedonia.
Macedonian Salad.